Hey everyone, Jim here. Not too long ago, Intrepid gave us information on the class Cleric. And today, we're going to be going over it. Exactly what they've given us, and theory crafting some possibilities that are to come with the subclasses, or archetypes, whatever you want to call them. So, let's get into it. They always have really good stuff going on in their videos. It looks so gorgeous. The KAELAR Cleric. Active skill trees level 1 through 10. I'm liking the colors here. The white, the semi-white armor, the dude on the right with the gold trim. Alright. This CASTIGATION is a whip. Okay. Whip him. Benediction. Chain heal up to 3 targets. Hallowed ground. Okay, so you do damage to the enemies, and you also heal your teammates. Divine Censure? Oh my god, they're going fast. Throw a spear. Anytime they're attacked, that person's healed. Resurrection? Sounds about right. It's a cleric. It better have a way to bring back the dead. Damnation. Curse your target, doing damage over time and lowering their damage output. Devotion. Alright, a swift heal. Fast heal. Exorcism. Looks like a channeling damage over time that does more damage to enemies nearby you at the end of the channel. Judgment. You throw a hammer and they take more damage. You do damage it and they take more damage. That's good. So now they're going over the abilities right here a little bit more, or how it looks. So I think what they could have done there was stretch it out. So we're actually going to go in and look at all the abilities and what they do and go from there. First up, we have Castigation. Lashes your target with holy energy, dealing direct damage, provides health regeneration and mana restoration for you and surrounding allies. So when this spell was first shown, I thought it was going to be some form of gap closer, not so much bringing you to your target, but your target to you. Which could make sense if, like, we're talking about, you know, say you go fighter or tank, archetyped with cleric as your main job, and but other than that, maybe like a rogue, I could see it. But now that we know it gives you a buff to your health regen and mana regen, and not just that, but to also your allies around you, this is going to be a pretty powerful ability. Whether it's like a flat percentage or just a flat amount, this thing could be really good, especially if it doesn't have a cap. So if we're in a group of 20 people, and say 10 of those people are in our melee range, we don't even know the range of this. So you could definitely be throwing this out in melee range, giving really good forms of sustain along with mana regen. This could be a really good ability. Moving forward, I can't wait to see what they do with this. Next up, we have Benediction. Benediction does chain heal that heals up to 3 targets. So in World of Warcraft, Shaman has the ability called Chain Heal, which is essentially this. And I'm sure as this ranks up, it will probably either do more healing or make it to where, say the initial target gets 100%, then the next target could get 80% or 85%, and then the next one could get like 60 or 65 or 70, going down either 20 or 15 every single one. It could also make it to where as you rank up, the initial heal could be more, and then it decreases the same percentage, or it makes it to where the percentage is completely removed. So you're healing 3 people for 100% rather than, you know, one person for 100, another one for 85, so on and so forth. I could also see them giving this ability a heal over time. That could be really nice, because then not only are you getting that AoE burst healing, then you're getting that sustain as well. So then So say you're hitting the tank with it, right? It bounces to two other people in melee range. You're giving them all three a heal over time, a hot, and since it's a smart heal, those people are going to be higher up in the health percentage than say. So then you cast it on the tank again, most likely, and then that will bounce to two other melee DPSers. So, or it could even be a pet probably. So it'll jump to them, and then you're refreshing the heal over time on your tank, and then you're also applying more healing to your other teammates, which could be, I mean, not could be, it's definitely going to be strong. Benediction is, if we're talking about raid healers and we're looking for AoE burst along with AoE sustain, Benediction is definitely going to be on that list. Next up, we got Damnation. Damnation curses your target, dealing holy damage over time and lowering their damage output. So, if your group is taking like an okay amount of damage, nothing really that crazy, so you only have to come out with a heal every now and then, it will do damage over time, which will be pretty good. So you'll be able to bring down, or you'll be able to bring up your group's DPS a little bit. And then you're also making it to where your group is tankier because then you're also lowering their damage output. We need to kind of find a little bit more out about this spell. If we're talking soloing, you're probably going to take Damnation. Being able to get that damage output mitigation is really good, or reduction, and the damage over time itself. So what could you do with that? Going fighter again, it makes you tankier. Going a little bit more into tank, if you want to take that route. Same thing with rogue. With these, I guess really any of them. You could even go for it on summoner or with summoner, because then you're using your pets to do damage over time, and then you also have damnation itself to then do more damage over time abilities, while making, if you have say a pet that could tank for you, then it makes it to where your tank pet is now tankier because they're doing less damage. So also going with the other melees, rogue, fighter, tank, really any of them, making you overall tanky, especially in world PvP, when when you could easily get ganked by who knows, or other faction or other node members. You know, you could be at war. Damnation could be a really good spell. Next up, we have Devotion, a swift act that heals your target. It's a quick hot. Okay, so when I first saw this, I thought it was just, like flash of heal from WoW, or some kind of heal that's only like a second and a half rather than the normal 2 to 2.5 second cast. But it's easier on the mana, so it's lower mana for these longer cast ones. But for these, like flash of heal or heal of flash, whatever it's called, I forget. If it is a faster cast, it could be less healing, but it's also more mana because you're getting that initial healing faster than you would waiting a whole extra second. And in PvP or PvE, both of them, it could really come down to those one whole seconds. It could be a matter of your teammate dying or them staying alive. And it's a heal over time, so it's not entirely the same thing because it could be 1,000 over the course of a second, or 100 over the course of a second, whatever the amount is. That little bit could make a difference. Devotion is a really cool spell, and I hope to see more of it. Next up, Divine Censor. You throw a radiant spear at the target, so I'm guessing you're going to be doing radiant damage, or it could also be piercing. Any time the target is attacked, the attacker has a chance to be healed. So, say you're fighting down a boss, right? You throw out the divine spear, the divine censor. If your tank is attacking it, or even your melee DPSs, now they have a chance to be healed every single time they attack it. So it's kind of like a heal over time that you have no clue if it's going to work, but it's indirect healing that also makes it better for your team because you'll now be doing more damage. We do have to see how much damage this does. Now let's start thinking about it in terms of if you subclass into fighter, tank. You know, I'm kind of using the same ones just because if we're talking about magic users, it's really going to change up their dynamic. Or their dynamic will stay roughly the same, right? But for melee, you're going from a backline caster to partially being in the front line. So going cleric tank, right? You might not necessarily be the one tanking per se, but you're going to be in the front line, being able to give your team damage mitigation along with other spells that will heal them over time, along with doing damage. So you're going to be like that 0.5 healer that's also doing damage, and then you can also pick up the tank role if your tank falls, or if both of your tanks fall. You can be that off tank along with being a off healer, along with being an off DPS. It's possible. And that's the great thing about this game, is there's so many possibilities and so much variety. Next up, we got Exorcism. Holy power rips at your target's spirit, channeling damage over time. A healing energy blast damages nearby enemies at the end of the channel. With this ability, again, it's a damage over time, but you're channeling. So it's not a cast it and forget about it. Which means it can be interrupted. So if it does 1,000 damage, over 5 seconds, but you get stunned or interrupt halfway through, now you've only done 500 damage rather than that full amount. It could be a filler spell, but then it also has AoE damage to everything around you, so it's proximity based, is what it seems like. So if you're in melee range with, we're going back to the tank, fighter, rogue, whatever it is, if you kind of go into that role, you can use that in a pack of mobs. So, they pull a bunch of stuff. You use Exorcism. You're now draining one target, and then at the end of it, you explode, which could be pretty good. But we're gonna have to look more into it and see what they give for the initial rank ups. Could be more damage on the initial drain. It could be apply a damage over time effect on the explosion, which that would be really good because then you're getting more AoE damage. Following that, we have Hallowed Ground. Fills the surrounding area with radiant energy, damaging enemies and healing allies. So if you're in the backline, throwing this out into a group of mobs, or throwing it out into a group of mobs and trying to get AoE healing on your teammates, Hallowed Ground is going to be a staple. Earlier when we were talking about Benediction, how it has the possibility to be, it could apply a heal over time as you rank it up. Even if it doesn't, you throw AoE Hallowed Grounds, healing up your teammates. It's probably going to be a heal over time, which could also not be. But as it ranks up, it could apply a heal over time, and then you can spam Benediction. So you do AoE healing burst with Hallowed Grounds, and then you give a little bit more AoE healing with Benediction. Next up, we have Judgment. Holy Power crushes your target, dealing direct damage and lowering their damage mitigation. This is the first ability that we've seen that makes it to where your team does more damage. With Judgment, this is going to be really nice for the rogues, the fighters, but not just if you're looking to be more in the front line. You can then also use it as a form of damage buff for yourself, also being in the backline, because this is a ranged ability. So whether you're subbed into mage, rogue, ranger, fighter, summoner, any of them, this is going to be a really good ability to have. Since it's ranged, you don't have to be in melee range. You could be, it's probably going to be around 30 feet range on it. And if we're looking for more damage output, Judgment is a great ability. Then we have Resurrection. Resurrection resurrects a dead ally. It's that simple. Outside of being a pure healer, it's still going to be pretty decent. In dungeons, you're going to be able to heal up your teammates or resurrect your teammates. You will be able to resurrect whoever, some random guy on the road as you're walking to the next node. Give him a res. Whatever it is, resurrection is exactly what it says. Thanks everyone for hanging out till the end of the video. I'm very excited Alpha is coming out soon. Even though people won't be able to stream or make videos about it, just knowing that we're this much closer to the non-NDA version of the alpha that will be happening in March is great. I've been waiting for Ashes since the Kickstarter and have been hyped the whole time. Let me know your favorite archetype in the comments below. I'd love to hear ideas that I haven't thought about before. And if you enjoy our videos, hit the like button and subscribe. We make a video about MMOs every week. And come see us over on Twitch. Links in the description. Take care.